Africa. Yeah, Africa's my home. Damn America and what America thinks. Yeah, I live in America, but Africa's the home of the black man, and I was a slave 400 years ago, and I'm going back home to fight among my brothers. Yeah.
For these two African Americans to come home was a great, great significance because of Hollywood and TV. A lot of us have been taught to hate Africa. There was a time when you called a black person African, they'd be ready to fight.
Baninge, 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 solopenza. Baninge, 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 solopenza. Kotele nenge asika mama. Oya kotele nenge asika mama. Sese, seko.
Yeah, when I get to Africa, we gonna get it on because we don't get along. I wanna eat him up. Too much speed for him. Too fast. Too fast. That's right. I'm a retired heavyweight champion of the world. I'm going to retire the heavyweight champion of the world. September the 25th, the world will be stunned. That's right. If you think the world was surprised when Nixon resigned, wait till I kick Foreman's behind.
An 18-year-old amateur boxing champion with a charming smile took a physical examination for his first professional fight.
It won't be an easy fight, but my plan of attack on a fighter like Alec Mitzef would be 2 fast left jabs, a rapid right cross, and a left hook.
But in the Belgian Congo, freedom was followed by rioting and army mutiny. For months, the political pattern kept changing with kaleidoscopic speed until pro-red Premier Lumumba was seized by the forces of strongman Colonel Mobutu.
After watching Mike Dijon and Eddie Machen the other night, I would rate myself about number 2 now. I'm out to break Floyd Patterson's record. And by this being my 20th birthday today, January the 17th, that leaves me exactly 1 year to reach my goals. People do say I'm cocky, some say I need a good whooping, some say I talk too much, but anything that I say I'm willing to back up. The other night I predicted that I would knock out this Banks in 4 rounds, and I did. I knocked out Don Juan in 4 rounds, and I just annihilated George Logan in 4 rounds.
You close your mouth and just keep it closed.
Well, you know that's impossible.
No, keep it closed.
You know that's impossible. I'm the greatest. And I'm knocking out all bones. And if you get too small, I'll knock you out.
You'd actually take him on before the fight?
Beat him like I'm his daddy.
I saw something listed a few days ago, Cash.
Ain't he ugly? I'm young, I'm handsome, I'm fast, I'm pretty, and can't possibly be beat.
Cash's Clay goes into the record book with Corbett, Tunney, and Braddock as another who brought off one of the great upsets in the heavyweight history.
It is befitting that I leave the game just like I came in, beating a big, bad monster who knocks out everybody and no one can whoop him. That's when that little Cassius Clay from Louisville, Kentucky came up and stopped Sonny Liston, the man who annihilated Floyd Patterson twice. He was going to kill me. But he hit harder than George. His reach was longer than George. He's a better boxer than George. And I'm better now than I was when you saw that 22-year-old undeveloped kid running from Sonny Liston. I'm experienced now, professional. Jaw's been broke, been knocked down a couple of times. I'm bad. Been chopping trees. I done something new for this fight. I done wrestled with an alligator. That's right. I have wrestled with an alligator. I done tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning, throw thunder in jail. That's bad. Only last week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick.
Bad dude.
Bad.
Ain't no doubt.
Fast. Last night, I cut the light off in my bedroom, hit the switch, was in the bed before the room was dark.
Incredible.
Fast.
Incredible.
And you, George Foreman, all of you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him. All of you. I know you got him. I know you got him picked, but the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Hell, I think Ollie was scared. I think he was scared even then. And he knew he was going to be very scared as he got closer and closer to the fight.
So here way George fights. George comes out like I named him the mummy.
With his ego, he could keep telling himself that he would dominate Foreman, that he would beat him, that he would dance, that he would make a fool of him, that he would show him superior boxing, that Foreman would never lay a glove on him. But in fact, in his sleep or wherever his private moment came, he had to know that he had not done nearly as well against two fighters particularly, Joe Frazier and Ken Norton, whom Foreman had demolished.
Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier! The heavyweight champion is taking the mandatory 8 count, and Foreman is as poised as can be. Foreman is going about his job.
He had an overpowering intensity when he punched. Foreman had won his championship by knocking Joe Frazier out and knocked him down something like 7 times. Then he destroyed Ken Norton in 2 rounds. The word murderous does not quite apply. Foreman was awesome.
This chump has got everybody scared. Scared of what? Nothing to be scared of. Scared of what? How many fellas in here now picks George? Be truthful, be men. Tell the truth. John, raise your hand. Got George? You got George? Tell the truth. You, fella. Yeah. No pick. I just want to know. You got George?
The time may have come to say goodbye to Muhammad Ali, because very honestly, I don't think he can beat George Foreman.
Howard Cosell, you told everybody I don't have a chance. You told them I don't have nothing but a prayer. Well, chump, all I need is a prayer, because if that prayer reached the right man, not only will George Foreman fall, but mountains will fall.
Maybe he can pull off a miracle. But against George Foreman, so young, so strong, so fearless, against George Foreman, who does away with his opponents one after another in less than 3 rounds, it's hard for me to conjure with that.
And you're always talking about Muhammad, you're not the same man you were 10 years ago. Well, I asked your wife, and she told me you're not the same man you were 2 years ago.
After this fight, I suspect Ali will retire. And through all of the years, my own memories of him will be as a fighter and as the strange and curious and gregarious and engaging and sometimes cruel and sometimes family man that he is.
I'm gonna let everybody know that that thing you got on your head is a phony and it comes from a tail of a pony.
A stolen bicycle. He had a bicycle and he went to Columbia Gym. There was something going on up there and he left his bike parked outside. So when he came out, someone had stolen it and he went outside and he was crying and he told the policeman there, his name was Joe Martin, that someone stole his bike. And Joe Martin, he would also teach the little boys how to box in the evening. So he asked him would he be interested in learning how to box, and he told him yes, because if he ever found out who stole his bike, he wanted to know how to fight so he could beat them up.
An overhand right sends Bunny to the canvas. Referee Jersey Joe Walcott trying to get Ali to a neutral corner. Ali yelling at Plimpton to get up and fight.
Anchor punch.
Which punch?
Anchor. I call it the anchor punch.
That's the one step and fetch it out here?
Yeah, man. And people couldn't see it. It was so fast. Sport Illustrated clocked they got a slow motion camera. They clocked the punch, and the punch flew at 4/100ths of a second. You can break a second down to 100 pieces. You know how people win a ski race, they say he won in 16 100s, he won in 32 100s of a second. So you can break a second down to 100 pieces. So, you know, yeah, it's quick. So 4 100, they got a machine that goes like real quick, and it counts real quick, you know, real quick. And by the time that thing hit 4, that's how quick, from the time the punch started to the where it landed, it was 4 100ths of a second, which is an eye blink. Like a camera flash, that's 400ths of a second. Now, the minute I hit Sonny Liston, all of those people blinked at that moment. That's why they didn't see the film. I swear. Now, if you watch the film close, you gotta hold your eyes real close and keep looking about that. And I said, all right, I'm getting ready to hit him. You can't just, you got to hold your eyes and wait, or you won't see it, man.
They had this beautiful, you know, specimen, fighting machine. You know, it was handsome, it was articulate, it was funny, charismatic, and was whooping ass, too.
Deposed heavyweight champion Cassius Clay at a federal court in Houston is found guilty of violating the U.S.
Talked the way Muhammad Ali talked, without fear of something happening to him, their career.
His status as a black Muslim minister made him exempt from the draft.
He was already very unpopular with mainstream Americans because he had joined an organization known as the Nation of Islam, which was perceived as a radical black separatist group. And then on top of that, when he was called for induction and refused to take the step forward, he absolutely infuriated America.
Muhammad Ali said that no Viet Cong ever called me nigger.
The king is going home to get his throne. From the root to the fruit, that's where everything started at. This is God's act, and you're a part of it. This is no Hollywood set, this is real. Hollywood come in and take these kind of scenes and set them up. Have somebody in the movies playing his life. This is real. We don't pick up a script. We get up in the morning feeling tired. Sometimes we feel good, sometimes bad, but we go through it with feelings. Muhammad Ali was born to do it. He's a prophet. He's going to be a fisherman for Elijah Muhammad. This is only a stop, look, and listen sign he's doing, fighting. We've been fighting ever since we've been met. He beat Uncle Sam, 3.5 years, come out of the garage and beat number 2. First man ever did it. The rest of them, they put out the country. This is God's act. We just actors in it. If Jesus was here, everybody would want his autograph, and if films was around when he was around, they'd be filming him. The only thing, this is a sport. That's why you walk and talk to him. I think Muhammad is a prophet. How you gonna beat God, son? Anybody love poor people and little people gotta be a prophet. He was champion of the world, had a long table full of food, had a house for his mother, one for him, and he told him to take it and share it. If he couldn't love his God, what you think he is, mister?
Ali trained for the fight with Foreman at Deer Lake, Pennsylvania. He trained very hard for that fight.
One more.
And he had very good sparring partners. Larry Holmes was one of his sparring partners. Yeah, I was struck with how well he'd actually handled Ali in their sparring session. He'd dominated Ali. That wasn't uncommon. Ali very often would not show his best stuff with his sparring partners, but in fact would work on his weaknesses. He'd go against the ropes and he'd let people pummel him, very heavy hitters who were sort of clumsy. He'd let them bang away at him. It was as if he wanted to train his body to receive these messages of punishment and absorb them faster than other fighters could absorb them.
True significance of why the Scotsmen fought in Africa is because they came up with $10 million, $5 million for George Foreman, $5 million for me. London, England was trying to get it. Promoters here in America were trying to get it, but none of them could surpass the $5 million mark.
The dream is now becoming a reality.
Don King went to George Foreman and got Foreman to sign an option agreement saying that if King could deliver $5 million, Foreman would fight Ali. Then their signatures on a piece of paper. What he didn't have was $10 million.
A festival that will complement this great sporting event. The The greatest sporting event in the history of the world.
Greatest of all America, where all the top-notch blacks of America and the people of Africa had something together, all on a world level. We're all meeting each other and learning more about each other. This is the first assembly among American black men and Africans like this in the history of the world. And it's a big honor to be part of that, too. Plus, I got to whoop George. Got to whoop George. We're going to rumble in the jungle.
Come on. Come on. Now go. Speak to him, bro. For that.
George, is this fight against Ali will be the toughest of your career, you think?
Pensez-vous que le match contre Ali va être le plus dur de votre carrière?
Could be. Could be. I doubt it.
This is Muhammad Ali, September 10th, at New York City Airport, en route to Zaire to reclaim the heavyweight title of the world. Champ, what would you like to say to the children of the world?
I'd like to tell the children of the world, mainly right here where they speak and understand English in America, to live a clean life, stay off of dope, just turn the country up. Also, if they want to be like me, I'm getting ready to go whoop George Foreman. And by the time they see this, I would have beaten him. Tell them to quit eating so much candy. I have 3 rotten teeth, and they're bad, and I had to have one of them pulled. I can't chew my food like I should. Eat natural foods, because we must whoop Mr. Tooth Decay. I got one right here and one right here.
Yesterday, Ali told us that he's going to use part of his money for the building of a hospital. Do you intend yourself to use part of your money for something? Have you got a project?
He may think he may have to be in the hospital.
All black pilots, all black crew. This is strange to the American Negro. We never dreamed of this. And every time we watch television, they show us Tarzan and the natives and the jungles. They never told us that the Africans were more intelligent than we are. They speak English, French, and African. We can't even speak English good.
Bonjour, Monsieur Président Mobutu.
Citoyen.
Citoyen.
Citoyenne.
Bonjour, citoyenne.
Bonjour, citoyen.
Bonjour, citoyenne.
Bonjour, citoyen.
Ain't this beautiful? I'm free. Fantastic. I'm free.
Now I want everybody to repeat after me. If you don't know who you are and where your place in life is, just say to yourself, I am somebody. Somebody. I am somebody. Somebody. I may be poor. I may be poor. But I am. But I am somebody.
It was a great joy to see that the championship was going to happen in Africa.
Les gens étaient heureux comme tout.
People were so happy. At last, the world was paying attention to our continent.
And you're the out-of-towner here. Africa is the cradle of civilization. Everybody home is Africa.
So they're leaving tomorrow. Typhoid. I spelled typhoid. Is that all that we're giving? Yeah, I guess.
Who do you want to be your beneficiary in case of anything and then sign it?
You need an actual airline ticket to get on this plane. Let me see some hands of the 51 who don't have tickets. Who doesn't have an airline ticket?
Hi. You know who we are, don't you? I'm Lola Love. and I'm one of the dancers of the James Brown show, review. Zaire was there, or whatever you know.
Yeah, man. When are we gonna get to Zaire?
Who?
Mobutu land.
Zaire. We're gonna fly in Zaire till we get to Zaire.
That's right.
Sitting in a railway station, my suitcase in my hand. Going back where I came from, I had more than I can stand. Watching them destroy my dream, make my brain till it was green. I was up and they knocked me down. Ain't gonna hang around. I'm going, oh, yeah. Yes, I am. More than I can stand, why don't tell someone to meet me downtown? Oh, yeah. Tell someone. Why don't you? Yes, me. Ooh, let me tell ya. Came to this old town, some fortune and something. Never got the chance to prove myself. Trying to play them again. Using people just ain't my thing. I won't dangle from any string. Be some fool I don't care about now. Turning inside out, I'm going. Oh, yeah. I'm mighty old. I got it, you know too. Hey, I know what I'm gonna do. Tell someone to meet me. Yes, I am. Hey, hey, hey. Really, baby, when you're down and out. Hey, hey. I got it, look here.
The plane is not coming in at 6 o'clock. It's now coming in between 10 and 11, so you don't have to have those trucks up to the airport that early.
Where's James Brown? They told me James Brown's gonna be
James
here.
Brown is on his
B.B.
way.
King's gonna be here, and I showed up, and they ain't nowhere around.
6th, 5th, and 4th are done. Elevators are working.
Well, there's no air conditioning up there at all?
It's 80% of it's out. They have certain, it's all in, but it doesn't work. The air
But
breakers
what do you
are
mean?
out.
What do you mean 80% of it? But on what floors though?
I have 6th, 5th, and 4th.
I understand that, but what about?
See, it's individual air conditioning controls, right?
Okay, but
And they have
so
circuit
what
breakers in-
what apartments have air conditioning working? I mean, how many beds can we move people into tonight?
4 rooms.
It's just 8 people.
Yeah.
Everything gonna be alright. 'Cause home's where the heart's at, yeah. And it's a natural fact. What you say? Tell me what you. Hey, hey, hey. Gotta make a start today. Gotta do it in my way. Don't see mama again. Don't see my old friend. Africa.
Well, of course, the fight was held in Zaire, in the former Belgian Congo. Kinshasa was the capital on the banks of the Congo. It was just before the rainy season when this fight took place. Off to the north, you could see the flickering of storms, and coming closer and closer. But it was very important to the promoters of the fight that this fight get in before the storms occurred, because once the rainy season comes, you can't do anything. I always thought the Congo had such a wonderful name, Conradian and all that. Somehow to call it the Zaire didn't have quite the majesty, but there it was, the Congo.
Mobutu was everywhere. He was the equivalent in Africa of Joseph Stalin. You saw his picture everywhere. And of course, part of the vanity of dictators, they almost always, with the possible exception of Mussolini, he was half ugly and half attractive. Most dictators are unbelievably ugly or plain. Franco, Hitler. Mobutu looks the archetype, is the epitome of a closet sadist. Sort of guy, if you meet him in a bar, you think, oh my God, who are the poor women who are associated with this fellow?
Come on!
And since Mobutu was an extraordinarily practical man for his country, down under the stadium, seated 100,000 people, were detention pens and rooms and chambers where you could imprison as many as a couple of thousand people at once. Before the fight came, the criminal rate in Zaire began to go up, and a few white foreigners had been killed driving their cars. And Mobutu decided that this was going to be a disaster in terms of publicity. So on a given day, he had 1,000 of the leading criminals in Kinshasa rounded up and put in this stadium down in the detention pens. And then the legend has it, and I suspect the legend may even be true, that he had 100 of them taken at random and killed them. And the reason was a particularly simple one from Mobutu's point of view. Criminals who make a life out of it have connections that protect them when they're in trouble. And by making this kill of 100 out of the 1,000 arbitrarily, what Mobutu was saying is your connections are worth nothing. I am Jehovah. I am going to blast you out of existence if you fool around with me. And he made his point. Kinshasa was one of the safest cities, not only in all of Africa, but probably in all of the world, while the foreign press was there for the fight.
The great place to visit in Kinshasa was a compound about 20 miles up the Congo River, a place called Nsele, which was a presidential palace. That was where we saw Foreman, who seemed incredible. I'd seen him fight before. I saw him destroy Fraser, and I'd never seen destruction like that. And the thing that I've always remembered was that the beaten fighter, even a man as powerful and big as Fraser, and you think, and he was very much favored to win that, suddenly becomes about the size of a pygmy. They just diminish in size. And Foreman suddenly became this gigantic figure. And he had a trainer, Dick Sadler, tiny by comparison to Foreman, and Sadler would hang on to the heavy bag, but Foreman would hit this bag. Sadler would just literally be picked off his feet.
Foreman hitting the heavy bag is one of the more prodigious sights I've had in my life. It seems to me that of all the people I've seen hitting heavy bags, including Sonny Liston, no one ever hit it the way Foreman did. At the end of 15 minutes of pounding the heavy bag, there'd be a hole in the heavy bag. Not a hole, but a huge dent, the size of half a small watermelon in that tremendous heavy bag. And Foreman used to use the biggest heavy bag around. What would be interesting is Ollie, who would train after Foreman, would often pass by this large hall where the training took place, and he never looked at Foreman hitting the heavy bag. He just walked right by as if Foreman did not exist. And it was significant because if you were going to fight the man, you did not want to see him hitting that heavy bag.
I'm a speed thief. I'm a brain fighter. I'm scientific. I'm artistic. I plan my strategy. He's a bull. I'm a matador. He's scared to death. He's scared to death. He wish he could get out of the whole thing. He wish he could get out of the whole thing. If you look at him, the man is right. He's meeting his master, his teacher, his idol. Right. So, when I talk to work, I'm in shape.
Ollie had announced he was going to dance. He spoke about all the time. You couldn't do an interview with Ollie during that period where he would say, how is Foreman going to get near to me? I'm going to dance. I'm going to dance and dance. That man will look foolish trying to find me. And as he gropes his way forward in this storm of blindness at the speed of my dancing, I will strike him with my jab. Pooh, 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 he would go, and so forth. We heard this over and over and over, and Foreman heard it too. Foreman was working now on what's called cutting off the ring. Now, cutting off the ring essentially just means cornering your opponent against the ropes or in a corner. And it's an art. It's a balletic art. You have to have very good footwork. Foreman's footwork, he was a big, powerful man, but his footwork was far better than anyone had expected. He worked with very fast fighters, smaller than himself, who certainly could dance, and he worked on cornering them, and he was very good. And we'd watch this, and the combination of hitting the heavy bag and watching Foreman cut off the ring made most of the fight writers, myself included, terribly pessimistic about Ollie's chances.
Yeah, long, anyway.
The guy threw up his elbows to protect himself from Foreman, and Foreman walked into his elbow. And he got cut, that's how he got cut in the eye? What else can happen that hasn't happened, man?
I saw a man's cut, and this man cannot fight. That's right. This man cannot fight for a world championship next Tuesday. No, I don't give a damn. I mean, I know what I'm talking about. Doesn't matter. This man, the Zairians kicked us out, and they did not want us around. And they want the fight to go on. That's all there is to it. That's the problem.
He won't fight with that eye. He's not that dumb.
He's not that dumb.
All you want is a fight.
No, not a fight.
That's all you want is a fight. Excuse me, gentlemen. That's all you want is a fight. I know what you want.
I respectfully ask, are the fighters remaining here because they want to remain here, or has the government requested that they remain?
Mr. Sadler told me to convey to the press that it's nothing but an accident. It's not serious. He will be getting in touch with the promoters of the fight, and it's possible that we may have to delay the fight, and he will let the press know as soon as possible.
Did they have to stitch Foreman? They had to stitch him. Holy shit, man. So how long is the delay, man?
Take another day or two to give any intelligence. This just happened yesterday. Then after we did make a decision.
How does George feel about it?
Well, like anybody else, he's only human. How would any individual feel?
I don't know. Does he want to go ahead
well,
with the fight, or he want to postpone?
Why should he?
Why should he go ahead with it? Or
why should he do either make any decision? Who would know what another man thinks? How could I truthfully tell you what you would think or what I would think or how? A man may have mixed emotions. I don't know. I couldn't speak for George. I can only speak for Dick Sadler, not for somebody else. It would be hard. I'm not that intelligent. I don't have that knowledge, that ability to speak what's in another man's mind. He never discussed it to me what his thoughts are. And a person's mind changes from time to time.
But the decision is yours to make?
The decision is mine to make. And right now, I haven't made any, I don't have any decisions to make. Okay, let's get the show on the road. This meeting is now called to order.
The delay won't have any effects on the fight at all. There will not be a delay. The fight will be rescheduled, but when it happens, it will be actually intended for that time. Fate intended it for another time. There is no delay.
How does Ali feel about it?
And if there ever has been any disappointments in sports, any setbacks or rainy days to stop the ball game, anything, this is the worst of all time.
Initially, Muhammad went through a pretty bad couple of hours, and he first wanted to move the whole fight back to the United States, and when he was told that wouldn't work, he said, well, then let's bring Joe Frazier over here, and I'll fight him again, and instead of each of us getting $5 million, I'll take $3 million, and Joe can take $1 million. But after a while, he calmed down, and he realized that there was nothing that could be done about it except stay in Zaire an extra 6 weeks and make the best of it.
Now I gotta wait. He's gonna get his whooping, but I just have to wait. Boy, I was ready. I was gonna upset the world again. The whole world was gonna crawl and bow the next morning. I was gonna defeat that big, indestructible George Foreman. Gonna rip him up. I was gonna get him for the spawn punch. My dreams all messed up for 6 more weeks. The man's in trouble. The man is scared. He's in my country to start with. It's in my country. You want to see? Let me show you it's in my country. Ali, boom, boom, yeah. Ali, boom, boom, yeah. Ali, boom, boom, yeah. Can you pitch 100,000? Can you pitch 100,000? How do you say it? Ali, boom, yeah. Ali, boom, yeah. Ali. Boy, when I hear them brothers hollering like that, woo, I'm gonna get my soul and my spirit. 100,000 African brothers hollering Ali Boomaye, and I'm tired. I just can't take it no more. Let me get out of here. I gotta get out of here. I'm going into my room. I'll talk to y'all later. I said I'm gone. What you give me? Baby. Oh, my hey. Baby, you understand? I've been got in a cold spot. Cut back.
The black acts in America have not learned that once their record is off the charts, they're finished. You know,
they haven't learned that.
It's
yet.
so true. I heard a speech by Jesse Jackson, you know, and he was saying that we must recognize that we're only useful as long as we're necessary.
As long as you're necessary.
So when we become unnecessary, then we're no longer useful. So they don't realize that your strength comes from your community.
And you have to deal from your strength.
You have to deal from your strength, because in dealing from your strength, you got somebody. So if somebody grabs James Brown or want to hurt James Brown, somebody gonna raise a voice and say, why are you bothering my brother James Brown? Because he got some soldiers around him. He got somebody that's concerned, that cares about him. But when you're dealing as an individual, no matter how big you get, as a black individual, you're still a nigga. You don't care how much money you get, you are still a nigga. And when you start there by yourself, you are all alone.
Well, I'll tell you
when you become unnecessary.
Just turn your love. Can I get a drummer song? Can I get a drummer a little taste?
Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. Would you have somebody bun you up and lynch you and tell you where to go and how to look and then refuse to pay you? Would you have somebody take advantage of your woman, Jack, and you can't even speak to his? Would you like to pay taxes for something that you never received? Do unto others as you would have somebody to do unto you. And I don't have to use the word FM backwards.
We left Africa in shackles and fetters and chains. You know, we're coming back in an aura of splendor and scintillating glory. The champions are here. So we try to get the champions of the sports world, champions of the music world. So we put them both together, and we got one champion that's so intermingled and intertwined that we're fused into one entity. You know?
The brother said something there. Yeah, the brother said something there.
Don King put this together. It was not a color put it together. You understand? I'd like to call him the Messiah.
This fight came into existence because of Don King's desire.
I have met the Minister of Finance. How are you? Now, I recognize and appreciate your talent and your expertise. You know, this is what it's really all about. I welcome you with love. That's all I'm saying. You know, we must deal with it as such, but with love, you know? Not with hostility and alienation, you know? Just but with love.
Rapper, Mr. King. Rapper.
King had this huge air of welcome. Rarely has anyone ever been welcomed the way King could do it for you. And there was a joy that came off him. Now, I knew his reputation, I knew all the things about him, how he'd been in jail, how he's thoroughly untrustworthy and so forth, but nonetheless, what it was is he made you feel good.
Don't leave me. I need you. I need your strength.
First of all, he was a startling looking man. All the writers used to find different ways of describing this great uprush of hair. Some people would say that he'd stuck his thumb into an electric socket.
Falling through an empty elevator shaft.
The fight, of course, was postponed, and Don King turned up, and everybody wanted to know what was going on. It looked as though maybe the fight was going to happen. And
you know, nothing really as big as this here runs smoothly anyway. Anything worthwhile is worth fighting for. So we have a situation here that we have been struck with adversity, and that you think about what Shakespeare said, you know, the sweet uses of adversity, ugly and venomous like the toad, yet wears a precious jewel in his head.
Venomous like a...
Ugly and venomous like a toad, yet wears a precious jewel in his head.
How many fight promoters have even tried one line of Shakespeare? He had a whole raft of them.
I can relate to the denial that they have to be confronted with. I can relate to the rat-infested hovels, the substandard tenements, the overcrowded tenements. I can relate to these things because I've been a part of them. I know about roaches, I know about rats. So when he started talking to me about it, I can understand him and he can understand me. You understand? So it's a big difference. So when I do this here, he can understand me. So now he will believe in me because he feels that I have shared with him the same anguish and anxiety, the same pain that he has felt. It's a big difference.
What would happen if you took an enormous, not an enormous, but a small part of the vast sums of money that will be made out of the fight and put it into something that would help a number of people rather than a few?
This is what my dream and desire is, and I feel that I would need white counterparts to do this here. I would say, let me engender a large amount of money, if it's possible, and then don't let this money just be sitting there so that it would wither away and just die, but put it into the sun so it can be exposed, so it can germinate, blossom, and grow.
He's really quite a remarkable man. Don King is one of the brightest people I've ever met. He's one of the most charismatic people I've ever met. He's one of the hardest working people I've ever met. He is also totally amoral, and I can't think of a man who has done more to demoralize fighters, exploit from fighters, and ruin fighters' careers than Don King. But you have to give him his due for what he did to make Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman in Zaire.
And nobody does anything for nothing.
Fight or no fight, we're in the what business are we in?
Music.
We're in the music business. Absolutely. I'm starting to wonder, man, because we've been making, we feel like we're
Do it to death.
Sucker, you ain't nothing. You too ugly to represent us colored folks. These Africans think all of us ugly. Sucker, look at you. You out, sucker. Ali, Boombaye.
Sometimes when I'm walking down the street, the kids follow me, screaming George Foreman, Boombaye, yeah. And that hasn't, I don't think that's so nice to me. You know, I like if they have anything to say about me, they can say, you know, George Foreman loves Africa, or George Foreman loves being here, not George Foreman killed him. I don't like that.
Boombaye, Boombaye. George Foreman. There he is. Sucker, you wasn't nothing. You understand.
We were all for Muhammad Ali.
Foreman, we didn't know him.
Ce qu'il a entraîné de dire, mais pourquoi?
Foreman said, why? I'm black, blacker than Muhammad Ali. Why all this bias? Yes, Muhammad Ali, he was lighter, but he was a real person. He was genuine. Muhammad Ali could have been even lighter skinned than he was, but for us, he was defending the good cause for Africans and the whole world.
Watch this from 7 punches. I'm gonna fight for the prestige, not for me, but to uplift my little brothers who are sleeping in concrete floors today in America. Black people who are living on welfare. Black people who can't eat. Black people who don't know no knowledge of themselves. Black people who don't have no future. I want to win my title and walk down the alleys, sit on the garbage can with the wine heads. I want to walk down the street with the dope addicts, talk to the prostitutes, so I can help a lot of people. I can show them films. I can take this documentary. I can take movies and help uplift my people in Louisville, Kentucky, Indianapolis, Indiana, Cincinnati, Ohio. I can go throughout Tennessee and Florida, Mississippi, and show the little black Africans in them countries who didn't know this was that country. You look like people in Mississippi, in Alabama, and Georgia. They're your brothers. That's right. But they never knew you was over here, and you don't know much about them. God is blessing me through an accident, through boxing, to help get to all these people and to show them films that I haven't seen. I know they haven't seen them. I'm world and I haven't seen them. That's right. Now I can go get all these films. You governments can let me take pictures. You can let me do things, and I can take all this back to America. But it's good to be a winner. All I got to do is look George Foreman.
I realize how unfortunate and how uncomfortable it is for some of you guys to have traveled so far and expecting so much and getting so little.
George Foreman was a phenomenon. He was almost like a physical guru. He almost never said anything, but when he did, it was arresting. You never quite knew what he was talking about. It might be deep, it might be non-responsive. He was negritude. He was this huge black force.
Because of this, I had expected Muhammad Ali to be here today. I was going to immediately jump and hit him in his mouth to give you some form of entertainment.
Now when I go in the ring, you see what kind of mind I got now? I just got a power now. I mean, I've got a power that I'm not going to even realize until after. I might look at the face and how did I do that? Allah, God, I'm his tool. God got in me. Purpose is my people. This man looks slow. Yes, sir. Guys that made this man look like a little kid. The so-called right hand ain't nothing now. I don't even feel him. I ain't got no fear of it. I walk right in and take my shots because I got God in my mind. I'm thinking about my people being free, and I can help with just one fight. Now he look little in comparison to what I'm getting from it. He ain't nothing now. But if I think about me, just me, and George Foreman knocked out Joe Frazier like he was God. George Foreman knocked out Ken Norton. And the white press and the power structure ranked me to get tired in 5 or 6. Then I go in like Norton and the rest of them get scared. But I'm not looking at the world and what they say. My God controls the universe.
I was very interested in people called féticheurs. They are witches, soothsayers. And in Western Africa, almost everybody has one. It's like a witch doctor, and you go to the doctor the way we would go to a dentist. Muhammad Ali had been to Mobutu's féticheur. And he had said that, the féticheur had said that a woman with trembling hands would somehow get to Foreman, a succubus. And that impressed me enormously.
heavyweight championship does produce an excitement in the onlookers that's unlike almost any other spectacle. It's almost physically uninhibited at 4 in the morning in order that it can be shown on television in America at a reasonable hour like 10. Before the fight, I saw a scene that was incomparable. Ali's dressing room was like a morgue. It was like the Last Supper. And at a certain point, Ali said, "Why is everyone so unhappy? What is the matter with all of you?"
The sense was that we were watching a man who was going out to the gallows.
Because they all believed that he was going to get defeated, and they were terrified. They thought that with his pride, he would take one of the world's worst beatings ever, and he wouldn't give up. And he was going to be destroyed in that ring, killed or maimed or they knew not what. But they were deeply frightened now. It was as if they were taking whatever fear Ali might have had before this enormous confrontation, and they were absorbing it.
So after a while, he looked at Bodini and said, "We're going to dance tonight, aren't we? We're going to dance."
And they said, "You're going to dance." He said, "I'm going to dance."
Muhammad Ali was so funny, gracious, repeating this.
"What am I going to do?" And they said, "You're going to dance." He said, "Yes, I'm going to dance and dance. And that man is going to be bewildered. I'm going to dance and dance." And they said, "You're going to dance." I swear they were all crying. And he built them up to a degree so that for him, they became half happy.
And here comes the Ali people out of the dressing room, and all of the questions will be answered. This is an awesome power of George Foreman against the varied boxing skills of Muhammad Ali. It's age against youth. The experience of Muhammad Ali against the youth and brute force on blinding speed. You can hear the band beginning to strike up in the background as Ali moves to the ring.
No one in the press ever saw Mobutu, and he didn't come to the fight. He watched the fight on a closed circuit. It was the only closed circuit in Zaire, and it was in his palace. He was terribly afraid of assassination, I think. Now, this stadium was a true arena for gladiators. Its floor, the floor you could not see beneath the floor, was covered with blood. That blood had been washed away, but the effect of the blood was still there as part of the atmosphere.
There was a lot of talk about the possibility of rain. I don't think the weather could be any more beautiful than it is tonight. And Ali is getting the people to chant, "Ali Bomaye." That means Ali kill him. Look at this now.
Which means that you throw your right without countering. You throw it first. You throw it like a jab, but you throw it like there. That has to travel that extra distance across the shoulders. Professionals will very rarely use a right or the left hook. And fighters, since they work in milliseconds, can see a right coming much faster than a jab. Knows at him, because it's a great insult to a top professional when you throw a right-hand lead at him. It suggests that he's slow enough that you can hit him with it. And instead, Ali figured out the one punch Foreman's not prepared for is a right-hand lead. He's expecting me to dance. I'm not going to dance. I'm going to hit him with right hand. I'm going to knock him out in the first round. Ali threw 12 right-hand leads. I don't think he had told anyone he was going to do it. I think he may have debated about whether he was going to do it up to the last moment. And the only thing is he didn't knock Foreman down and he didn't knock him out. Instead, Foreman went crazy.
That punch did no damage. That one did.
Bell rang. Ali went back to the corner. He finally, the nightmare he'd been awaiting in the ring had finally come to visit him. He was in the ring with a man. He could not. And Ali looked as if he looked into himself and said, "All right, this is the moment. This is what you've been waiting for. This is that hour. And do you have the guts?" And he kind of nodded to himself like, "You got to get it together, boy. You really got to get it together. And you are going to get it together. You will get it together." He nodded some more, looking at it as if he were looking into his maker, the eyes of his maker. And then he turned to the crowd and he went, people all yelled back, "Ali Bomaye," and this huge reverberation of the crowd came back into the ring.
I think one has mixed emotions when you see the end of a fight. I always feel enormous sympathy for the man that's losing it. You just can't help but to, particularly when you see really a titanic, formidable figure just suddenly on the ground.
And now when we see George on television and know that after that knockout, He went through 2 years of the deepest depression. He almost didn't come out of it. To see the man who's come out of it, to see the way in which he reconstructed his personality until it would be hard put to find anyone in American life who's more affable than George Foreman. Foreman's become a fabulous person in American life.
Just as the fight finished, the monsoons, the African rains came. And in fact, they came so hard that the waters were about 3 feet deep in the dressing rooms where we'd just been more than, an hour ago. They've just never seen such a downpour. And we rode back through the African night from the boxing ring into Kinshasa, and there were crowds along the road standing in the rain, and it's pouring rain, and you're leaping up and down because, of course, the news had gone around that Muhammad Ali had won this fight.
He stayed up all night, from what I heard, and in the morning he spoke to African groups who come as delegations to see him, and they more than revered him. He was a god. And he spoke to them very simply that day and beautifully. And he said, Afro-Americans in America, we're not as good as you are. Some of us are richer than you are. But you have a dignity in your poverty that we don't have. We are spoiled in America. We have lost what you still have in Africa, and you must keep that. And he spoke very gently. And I thought, my Lord, on top of everything else, this man's a political leader. And he's going to be a great political leader.
I have a lot of things to do when I start fighting in the black neighborhoods. We have a lot of problems that we have to solve among ourselves. Prostitution problems, dope problems, gang fight problems, knowledge of self. The black people don't have no knowledge of themselves. We have been made just like white people mentally. And white people have made us so much like them until it's hard to teach them anything about themselves. It's hard to teach them to unite and marry and be with their own because they're now like white people. Black people are now like white people. But they're so brainwashed, so we have to re-brainwash them now and teach them more about themselves and their own history, their own names, their own language, to respect and protect their own women, do something for themselves, and quit always begging white people for things they should do for themselves.
I never heard Ali say that he was never going to fight again. He had said it, and usually he told the truth. I wouldn't have believed it. He was born to fight, born for the ring, and loved it. He truly loved fighting. And as happens with people who love a thing too much, it destroys them. I think it was Oscar Wilde that said, you destroy the thing that you love. It's the other way around. What you love destroys you.
He came back. He had 22 fights. Some of them were most honorable. Some of them were very difficult. Some of them were comedies and farces. He hurt himself in those 22 fights after the fight in Africa.
There's a tendency to look at Muhammad and say, he's wounded, he's ill. There are no intellectual deficits. It's a motor skills problem. And he doesn't try to hide his condition. He goes out and lets the whole world see it. He doesn't feel sorry for himself, and there's really no reason for anybody else to feel sorry for him. He loves being Muhammad Ali. He truly believes that he's doing God's work, and he's as happy with each day as anybody I know.
Today's young generation, they don't know anything. Something happened last year, they know nothing about it. So this is great, great, great stories, great historic events. And I'm not talking about 1850 stuff. They know who Malcolm X is, they know who JFK is, Muhammad Ali, Jackie Robinson. You can go down the line, and it's scary. These kids today will be missing a whole lot if they don't know about the legacy of Muhammad Ali, because no matter what era you live in, you see very few true heroes.
Back up, sucker. Back up. Come get me, sucker. I'm dancing. I'm dancing. Follow me, chump. No, I'm not there. I'm here. Up. Sucker, you ain't got nothing.
In every heart.
years after the fight in Zaire, perhaps 10 years after, and I'd run into Ali on occasion after that, but I remember this meeting particularly because Esquire was giving a party for various people who would distinguish themselves in Esquire that year. One were
Refugee camp. Ali Yes, yes. Tribe called Rumble in the Jungle. Street corner, all your
Bounce. Come on!
Root to the fruit, more bass than Bootsy Collins. You versus me, that's like Ali versus Foreman. God's act, stand back and watch. Devil's time out, can't be timed with no swatch. Watch who I am.